Okay, Mr. Snyder here with the radio commercial project file. As you can see now, what I've got is all of the male clips laid down in order in the male voice track. I haven't got the male voices all spread down on different tracks, okay? All the male voices appear on one track, and I've also put all the female voices in on their own track, separate tracks for male and female. It's easier to edit, it has nothing to do with gender. Okay, and what we've got, if I play this, I don't have to play the whole thing, but I've got the whole commercial done.
Oh dear, I'm making dinner tonight.
Oh no, really? What are you making?
Bacon and tomato.
Okay, and let me go down a little bit further. I'll go down to here, and you can see that I'm under 30 seconds. So let me play it from this point. This is the new stuff I've added, the new clips.
Uber Eats? I've got this. Hiya! Ah!
Blood!
Get me a Band-Aid and check the bacon.
Fire!
I'm thinking the bacon's done.
Uber Eats. Fast food without the accidents.
Okay, and it comes under 30, so I'm good. I think it's a little bit tight in the words here, so I might actually go into the middle of the tagline. I might go Command E to split it. Right at this point, I have to select the clip first, Command E. I've split it. I'm just going to trim this off a bit, and I'm just going to move this clip over a bit. So I haven't moved the end of the tagline. I've just moved this piece here, the start of it, where it says Uber Eats. So now I should have a little bit more natural spacing between the end of the last male clip and the beginning of the female clip. Let's listen and see if it sounds natural. Let me take it back a bit. Space bar to play.
I'm thinking the bacon's done.
Uber Eats. Fast food without the accidents.
Beautiful. I think it sounds great. So I'm happy with this now. I've done both voices. I always do the voices first because everything else is going to be edited in relationship to them as to when things happen. Let's talk about sound effects now, because we're going to have to add a number of sound effects. And where are they? They're in your sound effects folder, which is right here under Grade 9 Radio Commercials, Sound Effects. And again, I've got 5. Now the key is, for the first one, it's the knife sounds. And the thing is, we've used 2 different knife sounds from the same audio file. I'll show you what I mean. Similar to the male voice, actually. So I'm going to use 2 different parts of this knife sounds sound effect. So let me go back to my project file. I'm going to add a new track because the first sound effect I'm going to hear is the knife being drawn out. So this is back to my script. The knife being drawn out means somebody's pulling the knife out of a casing. So you hear it go whoosh, and then you hear the chopping. So those are the 2 different knife sounds. Okay, let's go back to our project file. Let's go to new track. Microphones, voices, microphones. Okay, I'm going to change the name right now. Double click. I'm going to call it Knife 1 because I know there's 2 sounds. I'm going to keep them on separate tracks. Knife 1. Okay, and why don't I add a new track again? Voice and microphones. Right there. Oops, I've added 3. I'm going to get rid of this one. Delete that track. Okay. And now I've got knife 1, and I'm going to double click here and put in knife 2. Okay, so there's my voices. Let me just get rid of this start recording because that's to record a voice. Get rid of that. It gives me more room here. Male voice, female voice, knife 1 track, knife 2 track. Okay, so where does the knife 1, where do we hear the knife come out of its sheathing? When does that happen? Let's look at the script. Oh, Uber Eats, I've got this. As soon as he finishes saying I've got this, that's when I want to hear the knife come out. Okay, so let's go to our project file. Where does he say I've got this?
I've got this.
Bang. That's exactly right there where I want to hear the knife sound of the knife being pulled out. So let's just mark that temporarily for now. Let's go and import the knife sounds now out of the sound effects folder. Oops. There we go. Sound effects, knife sounds. Now you're going to see it's going to be way too long. See how long that is? What I have to do is find out where I hear that sound of the knife being pulled out. So that's part of the challenge. Now, how can I do that? Well, I'm hearing everything, right? So why don't I mute the male and female voices for now and just listen to the knife track here. So I just turn the speakers off on male and female voices, and now I'm only listening to the knives. And I'm going to find the place where there's a knife being pulled out of a sheathing. Clearly that's not it, that's music. How about this sound effect? Maybe that first sound is the one. Right there where it's being pulled out. Okay? Okay, right there. I'm going to split this knife track right here. Put the play bar at the end of that sound. Command E, split it. I'm going to put the play bar at the beginning of that knife sound effect. Command E and split it. Again, select that clip. Command E. Okay, now I've got just this sound. So if I move this over, all I'll hear is the sound of the knife coming out of the sheathing. Okay, good. So let me get rid of these other portions of that track I don't need. You just select them and hit delete on your keyboard. Now this is where did we say we want it to come in? So let's play now. Let's turn on the male voice.
And check the bacon.
Nope, not there. I think it's over here.
Got this?
Got this? Right there. So that's where we're going to hear this sound effect of this knife. So let's move it over. Let's zoom in so we can really see. This is a very small sound effect.
I've got this. Hiya!
Okay, so you hear it? You hear it? Actually, we can, where he says hiya, I can put it there maybe instead. So I'm going to just zoom in because it's a small clip. And I'm going to go hiya right there. Let's see if it sounds better there.
Hiya! Ah!
Maybe not. I think where we had it, over here.
Hiya! Ah!
And then we hear the chop, 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 chop in the middle here, okay? So that's just the sound of the knife coming out. Good. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Now what I got to do, let's go to the knife 2 and let's get the chop, 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 chop sound. And again, if you're not sure what you should be hearing, listen to the radio commercial either on Mr. Elsey's website or on the folder that you downloaded because the commercial's contained in a folder at the very top, the first folder. Okay? So let's go now to knife 2 sound, which is on the same knife clip. So let's go back to the knife sound effects. Click it. And now what we need to do is find the chop, 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 chop. So I'm going to look at the waveform and see if I can see anything. I know from the past that it's somewhere down here somewhere. Let me see. Oh, there's something there. What's that? Let me just move it down. Nope, that's rattling around for knives. Nope. Nope, maybe I've trimmed it off. Got to pull this back. Got to find the chop, 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 chop. Okay, there's a chop, 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 chop right in here. Okay, is there more chop, chop? No. So I'm just playing different parts of this track to find the other part that I need. I think this chop, chop is here. So I'm going to split this clip at this point. Select the clip, Command E. I've split it. Okay, I don't need the first part. Select it, delete it. And then the chop, chop, chop is not very long. Let me... Okay, and that's where it ends. So now I'm going to go Command E again. Have to select the clip, Command E, and delete the rest. And now I've got the chop, chop, chop. Okay, let's blow this up. Zoom in. I like to say blow it up because I don't know why. And I'm going to place it in this gap. Okay, let's see. The male voice is on. Knife 1 is on. Only the female voice is muted. So let's play this, see how it sounds.
This? Hiya! Ah!
Okay, and then the chopping goes a little long, so why don't I just trim it back? Maybe to there. Because once I start screaming, I probably don't need to hear any more chopping. There's where I'm screaming. Okay, so let's see how this sounds.
Uber Eats? I've got this. Hiya! Ah!
See, there we go. So we can do it like that. I can make it last a little longer if I want. the chopping. So there's the chopping. So I'm going to say under the name, I'm going to say knife to, I'm going to say chopping. So you have to find that sound on the clip and isolate it from that whole sound clip of knives. Okay, and this is, I'll just keep it as knife 1. So that sounds pretty good.
I've got this. Hiya! Ah!
Okay, now you're going to do this right now. Put these 2 sound effects in. Again, both of these sound effects came from the same clip under knife sounds. Okay? So you have to just split it up and find the parts that you need. 2 different parts to that clip you're going to use. Now here's the deal. I think this first one is a little bit too low in level. It's not quite loud enough. Let me just mute the male voice. And let me just listen to this and see if it's very loud. I could make this louder. So how am I going to adjust audio levels with this program? Well, you have to, in this program, adjust the entire track. That's why you keep things on different tracks. I want to bring this sound effect up. I'm going to bring up the sound on this track, which is only going to be this clip. So I'm going to go over here to this little volume knob. You see that there? I'm going to click on it, and then you've got an up and down arrow. Watch as I pull up, it'll turn up the volume. Click, and it's brought the volume up. Let's see how it sounds now. Okay, and you have to compare it to the male voice. So now I'll turn the male voice on, and I'll mute knife chopping. So all I'm listening to is the male voice here, the pulling the knife out of the sheathing here. Let's listen to those 2, how those 2 sounds work well together.
I've got this. Hiya!
Good. I think it's a little better. Let me go back and let me bring it up even a little bit more. Click on the volume and then just drag up with your mouse. Drag, hold and drag, and it'll bring the volume up of that track. And again, on this track, it's just this clip. Okay. If this other sound effect was on the same track, it would bring its volume up too, and that may not be what you want. So that's why we've got everything on different tracks. Let me play it again with the male voice because I'm comparing it to the male voice.
I've got this. Hiya!
Okay, great. I think that's perfect. Let's go now to the chopping sound. I'm going to turn off the first knife sound and turn on or unmute the knife chopping, which is this clip. I'm going to adjust potentially the sound level on this track, which is just this one sound effect. Okay, let's listen to the male voice. It's on in comparison with the chopping because I got to make sure I hear the chopping.
I've got this. Hiya! Ah!
Pretty good. I'm going to bring it up just a bit, just because. Okay, I'm bringing the chopping sound up. So click the volume, hold and drag it up a bit. If you want it to go down in level, you drag down. Drag up, it brings the volume up.
I've got this. Hiya! Ah!
That's good. Because he's screaming and stuff, I don't have to hear words underneath the chopping. So I think that's good, how I've got this. We're going to get to a phrase called sound effects and music need to complement the voices. It means it needs to work in harmony with the voices, that I can hear the voices clearly, but at the same time I can hear the sound effects without overpowering the voices. The phrase we use is sound effects and music must complement the voices, not compete with the voices. And that'll be particularly important when we get to the music portion, to add music. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to add all of the sound effects now. There's 6. 2 of them are on the same knife clip. Get them positioned, base it on. Where do those sound effects happen? Based on the script and also based on listening to the radio commercial, because you're recreating here, okay? So what you're going to do now is get all of your sound effects in and adjust the audio levels on the tracks as you need to. Each sound effect goes on its own track. Okay, when you're done, File, Save As. I think I'm up to number 5 now. I'm going to save this as a version 5. In my case, I'm going to click OK. And then I'll be back with you to add the music at the end once you've got all your sound effects in place.